that, Valerie? I try to picture a girl through a looking glass and see her as a carbon atom. I see her eyes and I stare back at them and see that girl as her own new world. Though her home is on the surface, yes, she is still a universe. Glory God, oh God is peeking through the blinds. Are we all here standing naked, taking guesses at the actual date and time? Oh my, justifying reasons why. Well, it's an absolutely insane resolution to live by. Live high, live mighty, live righteously. Taking it easy, live high. Oh, live mighty, live righteously. And try to picture the man to always have an open hand. Yeah, I see him as a giving tree. I see him as matter of fact, he's not a beast. But no, not the devil either. Always a good deed doer. And it's laughter that we're making after all. The call of the wild is still in order nationwide. In the order of the primates, all our politics are too late. Oh my, the congregation in my mind is this assembly singing gratitude, practicing their loving for you. Live high, live mighty, live righteously. That's right, just taking it easy, live high, live mighty, oh, live righteously. And sing it all, just take it easy and celebrate the malleable reality. You see, nothing is ever as it seems. This life is but a dream. Love, 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 love. Oh, oh. Just taking it easy. Oh, live high, live mighty, live righteously. Oh, taking it easy. Live high, live mighty, live righteously. Taking it easy, live high.
Good morning, everybody. All you brave hurricane storm bravers. Good morning, everybody. You get a star today for showing up on a hurricane day. So that's good. Welcome, everybody. My lighter to light the Christ candle is not here. Timothy, do you know where it is in the kitchen? Or somebody must be a light. Somebody, we'll get that little Christ light candle. How's everybody doing? Have you had a nice week? Everybody's. That won't work. Oh wait, it's a new candle that might work. Usually there's I have to go too far down in here to do that, but I could do this. Got it. There you go. All right, so we do light the Christ candle as an example, as a metaphysical, as a larger than life example of the Christ that exists within each of us, and that's why we light that each week as that example. So if we could repeat our statement of truth today, there is only one presence, one power, and active in the universe and in my life. God, the good, the omnipotent. And then if you'd also repeat with me, centered in God, we co-create a community and world that works for all. And Timothy, our prayer chaplain today.
Good morning. Good morning. If you have any prayer requests, we have our prayer box up here. We ask that you fill up one of these little prayer requests, slide in the box, which we pray over for about 30 days, and then it's forwarded to Unity, which have been praying over it for 100 years. Opening prayer. Father, Mother God, we ask for your blessings today over the service. We thank you for the people in attendance. We ask for your hedge of protection over everyone that is not in attendance. We ask that they're well today. We ask that you be with us and guide us in every way possible, and we thank you. And so it is. Today's word, healing. I relax into the infinite stream of divine life, and I am healed. There is a universal flow of wholeness, an inexhaustible and irrevocable stream of life in which I live, move, and have my being. As I close my eyes and relax into the remembrance of this truth, I feel the sweet ecstasy of bathing in divine love. The indwelling presence of God is my true identity. As waves of well-being gently wash over me, they draw out an anxiety, sadness, fear, and all beliefs in lack and limitation that have been cluttering my perception. My mind and heart are restored to the awareness of divine life. Love heals. Love frees me from any suffering that I might have been experiencing in mind, body, or spirit. Love restores me to a deep faith in God's infinite presence, power, and peace. Resting in love's curative, life-giving waters, I am refreshed and revitalized, and I am healed. Psalms 30:2. O my God, you have healed me.
Thank you, Timothy. All right, time for our congregational song. So if you'd like to stand, let's get that energy moving around our bodies a little bit on this beautiful Sunday morning. We know this song and everybody seems to enjoy it, so we're just going with it for a couple more weeks. See how we go from there.
Everybody get up on your feet. See the lion, everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the lion, everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we come to be. We are love, we are one, we are one big family. Hey, 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 yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Everybody get up on your feet. See the lion, everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the lion, everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we come to be. We are love, we are one, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. You stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. You stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 everybody get up on your feet. See the lion, everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the lion, everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we come to be. We are love, we are one, we are one big
Now, if you would, a handshake or a hug, and if you don't feel like that today, sit down. Welcome, everybody. Thank you.
Go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is. Go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is. Go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is. Go inside to find my God. Inside there is peace. Inside there is joy. Inside there is more than enough. Inside there is peace. Inside there is joy. Inside there is sacred love. I will leave this day as it is. Go inside to find my God. I will leave this day as it is. Go inside to find my God. Inside there is peace. Inside there is joy. Inside there is more than enough. Inside there is peace. Inside there is joy. Inside there is sacred love. I will leave this life as it is. Go inside to find my God. I will leave this life as it is. Go inside to find my God. Go inside to find my God. I'll go inside to find my God.
Thank you so much for that. That was lovely. I love that song, don't you? It's so beautiful. So there we go. As we can just take a moment and close our eyes, we're going to do a little meditation and go within today. And we're going to remember that covenant, the new covenant that was made between Jesus the Christ and humanity in the New Testament. The New Testament was a covenant, a new covenant from the Old Testament. Putting aside that judgment of that God that so many people grew up to fear. In that New Testament, Jesus says, just love. Can we hold that space to just love? To find the most beautiful ways to communicate with each other. Through the words of our expression that just come love. I invite you now to sit in that space of holding yourself in that highest light where you will receive love and are receiving love, and everything you project is of the love that you are in that new covenant that Jesus the Christ gave us and shared with humanity. And into the silence we go. As we take a deep breath in and we release it, we hear that rain outside, that water that cleanses us through the blood of the consciousness of the Christ, that represented model of the water that flows through our bodies, cleansing us, loving us, holding everything we are as sacred. And we say thank you and amen. Nobody's wanting to come out of this, so I'm just going to honor that for a minute. You take your time. What a beautiful few weeks we've had. We entered into the eclipse a few weeks ago. Get those lights if we could, please. Bring up the lights a little bit, if everybody's ready. Little loving tears coming out. That's beautiful. So, but yeah, we had the eclipse, and we have had a year of really a lot of growth as humanity on the planet, I believe. I know each of us have, the ones I've spoken with, and I think I've spoken with all of you on some level of everything that we've been through in the last year, just looking to see who we are and who we're becoming and what the world was going through and what we were going through ourselves as we grow and expand. And then we hit the time of the eclipse. And a couple of months before that, I really just felt like we had been pushing it. We had been learning and tugging and pulling with ourselves internally and externally. And then we went into a time of prayer before the eclipse. Every week for about 6 weeks, almost 8 weeks, we went into this place of gratitude where we could start really appreciating who we are transforming into and that love that we are. And then we had the eclipse, and that was significant for everyone. I just remember everybody having some intense times around them. We felt energy coming in, and I felt like people were getting sick and trying to integrate those energies and not feeling themselves and feeling very different inside themselves as the energy came through. And then we had our event on September 23rd, and really what a beautiful event that was. We had close to 300 people, if not over that, showing up for a beautiful day. And one of the things that I remember the most, and I may have said it right after the event, but this one young man came up to me, or I went up to him, I was walking around, and he goes, when I saw that flyer, he goes, I thought this was a joke. That was the biggest compliment I think we could have ever gotten, right? I thought this was a joke, that people would want to love each other that way. That's awesome. It wasn't a joke. And we did it. And for one day, we stood out there together, and people came, and there was a wedding party, and they came by, and they said, what is this? What's happening? You know, this is beautiful. This is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. So just those expressions of people walking up and having an experience where there was just love for one day. Can you love your brothers? Can you love your sisters? So we experienced that together. And then right after that, honestly, I was exhausted. Been months and, almost a year of just seeing where we were going as a community here at Unity, seeing what the last year's been about for each of us. And in that, we've had struggles, and we've had struggles in our own development and our growth of where we were going. And some people had a hard time with that, because with that, there is so much change. There's so much change when a new minister or a new spiritual leader comes on board, because he brings with him or she brings with her whatever that is that they're being called to do. So the people in the congregation are having to move within themselves and integrate toward what's happening, or integrate away from it because it doesn't resonate with them. We have a good solid core. I mean, we got rain today, we have a hurricane, but we have a good solid core now of around 40 people, maybe even 45, that are really doing good work here on a regular basis. And I am just thrilled with that. But at the same time, when I would feel something that maybe I was causing, not knowing it, that really hurt. It feels, as a minister, you want to just project love into your community, but you don't know how to always do that and how to always speak with everybody. So it's been a journey for me in big ways, which is beautiful, beautiful. I've seen each of you do some amazing work throughout the year and hold space and keep this place running and keeping it clean and keeping the outside going and bringing food and just contributing your own gifts. So today, I wanted to, in my studies, within Unity, I'm going to do something I don't normally do, which is stand at the pulpit and read some stuff out of the Bible. Because usually I've put it up on the screens, but today in the work that I was doing, when I left here, I went straight up to Kanuga. We had the Kanuga retreat, and there is something happening and changing with all of the unities. If I can see it in this region, I know it must be happening all over the country and all over the world. There were a lot of ministers not there. A lot of ministers were not there this year. They've had, from my understanding, and this is something I can share, a lot of shifting going on in unities everywhere. And I'm sure that's in every other church too, every other center, every other spiritual place. But there's a lot of people reaching really deep, and sometimes the ministers are having a hard time with that because they're having to hold space all over this country and all over this world as these changes take place on our planet. So we all get to go there, and as a minister, I get to go there and I get to share what I'm feeling, what is coming from my congregation, and I get to hold that holy space like you get to hold with your minister or other people in the congregation. They become my psychological place to unwind a little bit. So it was really beautiful to hear what is happening. And what is happening here, to me, sounds like exactly what is happening everywhere else, in every other unity, and every other spiritual center, and probably every church on the planet, as we are embracing the love that we are and putting away anything that is not love. We can't do that anymore. It's just simply not going to be allowed. Every word we speak, it's got to come out of our mouths as love. Everything we do, it's got to come out of our being as love, because if it's not, it is destructive to anyone it touches. We've talked about all those lessons, and I think we're learning to live that way. That's what I see here, and I envision that here in our community. And so that's the cool thing about communities. I mean, sometimes we look at community and we get confused about that. Like, we're a church. No, we're a church. This is a church, or this is a center. It's not a community. Or people may think, well, it's a piece of community, but it's not what I consider. So community to people is something very, very, very different in each of our hearts, what that might look like. So as I was doing my studies this week, I came upon that work, in John 31, John 13, and we're looking at verse 34. I give you a new commandment, this is from Jesus, that you love one another just as I have loved you. You also should love, just as I have loved you, you should love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you have love for one another. This became and has become, these words alone has become dualistic, to say the least, in that in Paul's letter to the church, he writes a letter to her, the church. And in that time, I'm going to read a little bit about what happened, because what happened at that time seemed to divide and split people's consciousness of who the Christ was, who the love of Christ was within them, and what community was. Because it was all about community, a loving, loving community. There's a book I'm studying from right now. It's written by Stephen Harris, and it's called The New Testament, A Student's Introduction to the New Testament. And in this, we talk about this letter that was written to the church by Paul. In one of the great ironies of, and here's the key, in one of the great ironies of theological history, the community that was to be distinguished by the love its members showed, the community that was, they say it here, the community that was to be distinguished by the love of its members showed to one another, distinguished amid disintegrated between bitter controversy. What the controversy was the author accuses them both of doctrinal and behavioral error, misrepresenting the name of Christ and failing to love their one-time friends. We had a split in the church. We had a split. And, I mean, look at how many times that happens within churches. They have these splits because they have differences of opinion. So one side of the church will go one way and one will go the other. Well, that's happened, would you say, millions of times? How many churches are there? How many communities have been split because of the doctrinal way we teach or we love or we think? Split, 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 split. Over and over. The opponents whom 1 John denounces were apparently proto-agnostics who taught that Christ was pure spirit. Now just relate this to you and us and what we see in the world. Uncontaminated by association with the physical matter. We talk about the material world. So the agnostics at that time were saying, we got to get rid of the material world in order to find the truth of where we come from in that Christ consciousness of being and loving in community. Many scholars suggest that the writer's adversaries espoused a form of Docetism, arguing that the Christ only seemed to be human when he was actually a celestial revealer who temporarily appeared as Jesus, but who escaped physical death by reascending to the spirit realm. Okay, that did not sit well with those that were taking the teachings that were written after Jesus' death on the cross. And it did not resonate with them, so they split. The writer affirms that the man of history who died on the cross and the escalated Christ are one and the same. Don't we look at it that way, sort of in unity? we look at that Christ consciousness, when we light this candle, that Christ consciousness is coming through us. And we know it represents the man, Jesus Christ. We know it also to us, through the Fillmore teachings, it also represents that light of consciousness that ever flows through with us. Now, I'm going to guess there are those of us, because I think it would be an amazing thing, and I think it will be, should that happen, that Jesus Christ comes down and we get to see him and all get to do wonderful things with him and follow him to wherever we're guided to go. Yet at the same time, metaphysically, we learn we have to do that every single day. We've got to just allow that consciousness in that is that love of Christ every single day. And that is actually, in what we teach, the resurrection of the Christ within us. By giving that up, we resurrect to that light every single day, all the time. So whether this man appears as a celestial being of God through Jesus Christ, being Jesus Christ, or not, we're having this experience. So for me, I can integrate these words together. I know some people in our world today do not want to do that. And so that separation that happened way back then still exists today. And it's all how we look at it. And we see Jesus and we see God as such. We each have our own little intricacies about how we are going to see that in Jesus the Christ. Now, I did some writing, and I'd like to share, because I was asked to do my own metaphysical interpretation of what I was just talking about. I see this as this is me speaking. I see this as a continual renewing as a possibility of all mankind since what we would have been called the fall from grace. The letter written to her, the church, tries to make clear this understanding, yet places one side in this dualistic expression of one is right and one is wrong. What do we know about love? There's no right and wrong in love. We've talked about love. We've talked about sometimes love looks really ugly. Sometimes love doesn't look like love at all. When people are being jealous or killing each other because somebody slept with somebody's girlfriend or boyfriend in the world that we know of. That's not the kind of love I think we're talking about, right? That's kind of a good and bad love, a very dualistic kind of love, which the church set itself apart from when this division occurred all those years ago. My question is, who is right and who is wrong when we are taught there is only love? I can study the teachings of unity and the principles it teaches only to be that by literal followers of Christ that I should be shunned because my wording is different, therefore I become us and them again. That's pretty powerful stuff. No matter how I do it, it looks like it's going to turn into this dualistic, am I right or am I wrong? Am I of God or if I'm not? Am I of love or am I of not? And again, no one can answer these questions except us individually, your own truth being that. The books and letters here speak of community. If I were to place my bet on the Bible, I, Bates Reed, would choose to believe with my mystical, I call myself a mystic. I was afraid to even say that before I went to Unity. Because you walk into a church and you say, I'm a mystic, they'll say, oh, you're going to hell. Because of that separation that occurred from the beginning of what I'm talking about. If I were to place my bets on the Bible, I'd choose to believe with my mystical experience, coupled with my teachings from life and ultimately unity, community of one love is what the lesson is all about. All of us loving God as one, no matter how we see it, honoring each and every one of us. There must be complete love in order to find God, in order to find the source from which we came from. Can anyone here think of another way that could be? I can't. There must be complete love. There cannot be dualism in community in order for all of humanity to go to God, or to find God as one. My personal work about community, it is how do we build it so that when I read this information, I listen for community, and how do we get back to it? Somewhere along the way, we've co-created so many communities that do not love each other, that to find the way back to that love seems insurmountable, leading once again to the destruction of earth and flames as we know it what it is. I find this so interesting, and I did a thesis on it in school when I was literally there, when I was up there. But it says, just as Noah, think about all this, just as Noah, just as the stories of Atlantis, just as the stories of Lemuria, and we're finding now the evidence to prove those were not just myths. Those places existed. In my mind, in my heart, they existed. This world is very, very old. It's been through very many civilizations. And it seemed to continually do the same thing over and over again. They seem to continue to destroy themselves, don't they? Community, coming together in unity, will literally stop the end by creating heaven on earth. Does that resonate with anybody? If we can find that? And I believe we are working on that. I believe that's what we're working on. So this, I would suggest, is the meaning we seek. Love is the key. The love that God is the key. I can share this because I've seen this, and it drives me forward in my work. I've been lucky enough in my life, and I'm sure you have too in your own ways, to see that vision, or you're holding it somewhere deep within your DNA structure, that can and does exist somewhere. Therefore, we continually try to reach it here as human beings. I claim nothing more than what I know and what I've asked to be shown to me. Because what happens when we ask? We're shown. So how much do you want to know? How strong are you? How willing are you to go to this place of knowing within you that is that love? We must demand from God to be shown what and who God is. When I've demanded, it's shown up. When I demand, it's hard work. It's like being slapped across the face or the whole body and you go flying till you learn it. But when you demand it, you get the answers. The semantics of how we express it are sure to confuse any reader, right? The semantics, we even read it in the Bible. It's ironic. Or in the Quran, or in any other book. It's ironic. The semantics of how we express it is sure to confuse any reader, and his or her perception is different than ours, and that expression can only be known through his relationship with God. So keeping it really simple. How do we keep it really simple? Love thy neighbor as you would be loved is what I hear these teachings saying. So I would invite you to take these new flyers that one of our congregants sponsored to us. And if you want to share the message of who we are and what we're doing, I've left these all over the chairs. I hope you like them. We, the board, everybody gave input into what these new flyers would look like. And it is different. It's different than what you're going to see on a typical church flyer, because what's the big word besides unity that pops out? The diversity of who we all are. Each one of us being completely diverse of everyone else on this planet. Full of the love we are, being able to go out and shine that. So I invite you to take these out to your friends and invite them here. Invite them to help us build a community based on all of these beautiful words here and those feelings that come from within us. Let's grow a community. Let's continue to grow a community. Look what we've done. It looks very different than what it did when we walked in here a year ago. I rarely saw people get up and dance and sing. The energy was great, but people didn't get up yet. And I think people are still struggling to get up and stand up in a world like we live in, and to know who they are, and to dance and sing and express themselves beautifully and lovingly. and putting away. I call on all of us to put away anything that might come out of our mouths or be presented by us to hurt another person. I spent a lot of time in silence. I spent 8 days in silence. I took my dog down and got her hips fixed through a GoFundMe that many of y'all helped me do. And her knees, luckily we found out it's her knee and it's not her hips. And so, but in that I had to find a place where I could be accepted with my dogs, and I got to do that. I got to drive, and during that week after Canuga, that kind of brought me into a place of quietness where I could see things happening around us. And then I got in my car and I said, I don't know if any of you remember, I got in my car and I said, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm being called, and I'm just going to go. So I took the dog. I got an okay report. We're going to get through this thing with my Chi and my dog. And then I drove, and I thought, well, I could go towards Chattanooga or that way, or I could go east, and I'd had an invitation to maybe go to the beach, but I didn't know if I'd end up. And then it didn't come through on my phone because my phone have y'all's phones not been working right lately? Or is it just my phone? Everybody's phones are working okay? Well, good. I'm glad y'all's phones are working all right. That's awesome. But I drove, and then I tried to get to the beach, and then dogs weren't allowed on the beach. I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot that. So I ended up stopping at a KOA station, and I got a little cabin, stayed there for 2 nights, and me and my dogs got to stay together, and I got to study, and I got to be in the silence. And it's such a good time. I've got another lesson today I'm doing. It's another 3-hour retreat in silence that I'm doing for school. So I invite you all to be in the silence whenever you feel called, and to listen and love yourself and see what's coming next. Because there's been something really beautiful happen since, I believe, the 23rd of September. A timeline shift has occurred, and we are now in it. And I have seen so many of you and us everywhere being filled with this creative energy. We've been through the lessons that we just got through, and now we're filled with this creative energy to go out and create. Go out and create everything that's within you to create, because that's where the inspiration is. That's where the beauty lies within each of us. And I see you all doing it. I'm doing mine. You're doing yours. I just caution you, remember the lessons. Do it in love so that everybody feels your love. I thank you all. I'm blessed to be here with you. We are coming up on our 1-year anniversary here for me. And then also the board has put together a wonderful survey that comes from Unity. If you haven't filled out those surveys, please do, because that will give us all direction on where to go. We're having board elections coming up November 14th. Is that right? 12th, November 12th, whatever that Sunday is, right? So we got board elections coming in. How many in here are running for the board this time? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 6 in here running for the board. And I think we have a total of 8 on the ballot that looks like. Now, also this week, let me just go ahead and throw this out here. This week, on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, if you have not been through all the classes to be a member here, or if you haven't, and you can be a member here and at the other Unity or wherever you want to be. That is not something I honestly care about. And I've checked with many other churches, and some of them have to do the same things because we have people that come between both centers and both churches. So if you would like to be a member here, please do, so that you can vote come up in November 12th. And if you have any classes that you want to attend, please get with me. They'll be held this Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I'll do one at noon. I'll do one at 6 o'clock on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to complete any classes that need to be taken prior to the elections that are coming up. I would like to say I'm really excited about all the people that have volunteered to be on the board. As a minister and as a board, those two must work together in loving kindness to do powerful things. And that is what I see coming here with the board, and continuing to be with the amazing board that we've had this year and that we will continue to have. So I see a year of growth. I was given an amazing download on my way back from one of my times away. And it's just like I got a full download of what's mine to do for the next year. So I know what I'm here to do. Do you know what you're here to do? Have you asked that question? What does that look like? It seems like this is a good time to be asking that question. What is mine to do over the next year? Or maybe longer for you. I don't know. I got a year. Maybe you got 5 years or a month. I don't know. But I ask you to ask that question of yourself. What's yours to do in the world today? Thank you. All right. If we'll do our prayer love offering now. Rub our hands together and repeat. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful. Thank you. Ready? Let's put those hands together, send out that loving energy for our tithes, time, and our talents, and repeat. We dedicate and consecrate these gifts of love to the will, the way, and the work of God. And so it is. Thank you. Bobby, it's so nice to have you back. I'm glad your heart's all healed and pacemaker's running well and working on getting that left arm up, right? Thank you. Welcome, Bobby. Thank you. We're so grateful you are whole, healed, and healthy. I'd like to welcome our visitors. We have you. Have you been here before? We do have a new visitor today, so it's so nice to have you with us. Blessings, blessings, blessings. And did we have a little packet? Did we give you that yet? You give it to him? Great. Thank you so much. All right. Announcements. I don't have any this week to make. I think I've already made them. And let's go into the next part. You have one? Please do.
Today's Babe's birthday.
That's another year older. 56 today. Yeah. What? Oh, big one. Those are always beautiful. If you haven't had a chance to come yet, please come. I think there's a $5 love offering, but this place is filled with tables and people laying on the tables, and it's beautiful. You want to tell us about that, Karen?
Yeah, I'm hosting Bob Sema again at Inner Awakenings. October is a Friday evening concert, October 20th, from 6 to 8 p.m. I'm going to try and do it outside, weather permitting. And then Saturday, he's doing a workshop called Release the Aurora Borealis Within. It's working with chakras. That's a 3-hour workshop. So I have some flyers out front. If not, just ask me. You can order tickets online or pay through me. So it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, you bring some beautiful, gifted people to town.
What was the date again?
Friday, October 20th, and Saturday, October 21st.
And we have potluck this Wednesday. I may be starting a class this Wednesday. We also have a book share coming up on Tuesdays. So I'm not sure what the class is going to be because I'm just not sure yet. But we're getting ready to work on that. So, please.
Healthy boundaries.
I love it. I love it. Just say it. Healthy boundaries. Okay, then healthy boundaries it is. I already got something in my head right when he said it. I'm like, oh, maybe it came through my heart. So we're going into going to welcome in the kids. More now. These are great. Keep going.
I have an idea.
Tell me now.
The energy's coming through here for you. What if we would all meet at the city pizza place? They have a buffet in that in your honor.
When?
Today,
Okay.
you are treated.
City Cafe. Where's
Right
that?
next door to where the food center was. Food City.
Oh, right there.
At the end of 129, whatever it is.
By
Murphy Road.
Aviator.
Well, I would love for y'all to come if y'all want to come, please, if you have any time.
Down the other end.
The other one downtown, is
That's
it
where the road is. That's where the beer
Oh, Downtown Pizza. Yeah, it's that pizza place, right?
beer came in that grocery store. Remember that on the news?
So after service, we'll head over there. That'll be great. Thank you.
Your archaeology.
That'll be nice. Thank you. They're not quite here yet. We're waiting on the kids. Let's go. Can we go ahead and start the music? That'll get them coming in here. I think Louise is back there telling them. You turn it up a little. And we'll sing it through a couple of times if we need to until they get in here.
Isaac and Carolyn, they had a wonderful lesson today about God is life, and that you can't take life out of anything. We have water to drink, but we can't take God out of that. We have bread to eat, but we can't take God out of that either. So no matter where we are, what we're doing, God is always present.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Y'all like to circle up? And we'll do our peace song.
God is, and all is well. There's some snacks in our snacks box.